So this is our day 1 for Selenium part now. So today we will learn about basics on Selenium. What are the components of the Selenium? Okay, and then we'll see the configuration part in Eclipse. Then we will see how we configure the Chrome driver, and we'll write our first automation script. Let's start. Let's understand first about what is Selenium at all, right? So when we say Selenium, so Selenium is not a tool, first of all. If anybody says that Selenium is a tool, actually it's not. It's just jars, or in other terminology you can say is it provides you APIs to perform browser automation browser automation or web automation. Okay, web, when we say, it is basically work on the browser only. So first thing is Selenium is not a tool because Selenium itself doesn't have any user interface. So here basically we are talking about Selenium web driver. Selenium has different components. So one of the component is web driver. Another is IDE, Selenium IDE, and grid is there. And earlier, before Selenium WebDriver, there was something called remote control, Selenium remote control, RC. Okay, but nobody is using nowadays. So we have basically 3 component if we talk about the Selenium. One is WebDriver, which we say WD in a shortcut. Let's say grid, Selenium grid, and IDE. Selenium IDE is basically record and playback kind of thing, but we are not going to learn about the IDE. We are going to concentrate on WebDriver part only. So what are the good things about Selenium? Why everyone is learning Selenium? So the basic thing about Selenium and its advantage is that you can write your script and you can run your script on different browsers, right? So it supports different browsers. So when we say browsers, it supports, let's say, Chrome and Firefox and Internet Explorer or Safari, right? So there is a freedom that you create your script, and generally the same script will work on all other browsers also. Just some of the changes you have to do, but it's just 1 or 2% of the code you have to change, otherwise it runs on all browsers. Then please keep yourself on mute mode. Okay, then platform independence is there. That means that when you write your code, you can run your code on Windows or uh, Unix systems or Mac systems. Right? That is another good thing about Selenium. So another thing is it's a free and open source. Okay, both are different things. When we say freeware, that means a software is available free. You don't have to pay for it. When we say open source is when the vendor is providing you the code also. You can change the code as per your need. Right? You can create your own wrapper over it. So advantage of Selenium is it is both freeware as well as open source. These are the advantages. Then when we say advantages, there are limitations also. So what are the limitations? That one of the limitation is, let's say, Windows based pop-up handling. So you cannot handle the Windows based pop-up. You have to, there is workaround to do this thing, but Selenium basically doesn't support any kind of Windows based pop-up handling. Inbuilt, there is no inbuilt feature for that, right? And for some of the actions you have to use JavaScripts in between. So there are some scenarios where something, let's say, related to the scrolling, or sometimes finding a particular element, or sometimes finding whether page is loaded properly or not. For that part, you have to write the JavaScript code. Right? Those are the standard code. Don't worry about it. You don't have to be like master on JavaScript to handle those things. So these are the basic limitation. There are other limitation also that we will discuss maybe later on someday. Okay, but these are the basic thing. Okay. Another advantage with the Selenium is it works with different languages. So if you are good in Python, you can write your code in Python and run it. If you are good with Java, that is also fine. If you are good in C Sharp, then also you can write Perl. So there are different languages which is supported by Selenium. Okay. Now, if you want to learn more about what are the components, or what are the advantages, what are the languages it supports, you should go to the official website of Selenium, that is selenium.dev. Previously, it was seleniumhq.org, but now it is, the new website is selenium.dev. Okay. Here you will get the detail about what is Selenium, what are the components, right? So these are the three components, and who sponsors Selenium, because see, Selenium is free and open source. Someone has to support for all kind of development, new features, releases of the Selenium. Right? So these are the companies which supports Selenium. There are many other companies also, but these are the basic big companies who support Selenium. Okay. And then if you see here, they have some kind of tutorial about what you can do. And then I'm going down. Here you have a download option. Okay. So here Selenium Grid, if you want to download, if you want to download Internet Explorer driver, so this is the link. But we will talk about this part today. So see here, it supports Ruby, Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript. Okay. This language it supports. So sorry, I made a mistake. It's not Perl, it's Ruby. Okay, fine. Let's understand what is the prerequisite if you want to start working on Selenium part. So prerequisite is, we are talking about the Java part as of now. Prerequisite is you should have Java installed in your system. So another thing is you have to work on a particular IDE. So we are doing on Eclipse. You can have other ideas like IDEs like NetBeans or IntelliJ IDEA, right? You can have other IDEs also, but we are using Eclipse. So these two is the prerequisite. You should have Java installed on your system and Eclipse. Java you can simply search in Google about uh, Java download if I write. So there will be a official website from Oracle. From there you can get Java. Okay, you can install the latest one, no issue. So you can install this JDK. Okay, then Eclipse. Eclipse is eclipse.org. So if I see this website again, you can click on download here, and you can install first the installer, and then you can install Eclipse IDE for Java developers. So if I show you what is my Eclipse version is, if I go to help and about Eclipse IDE. So my version is Eclipse IDE for Java developers, and this is June 2020 version. You can have any version of Eclipse, but keep in mind have this flavor of ID. Okay, so Eclipse has different flavors like Eclipse for C++ developer, Eclipse for PHP developers, Eclipse for J2E developers, right? Mobile developers. There are a lot of things. We want just Eclipse ID for Java developers. Okay, fine. Let's understand about the configuration part. Okay, so the prerequisite is Java and Eclipse. Configuration in Eclipse and how we will run our first automation script. So let's understand we should not randomly start automating something. There should be some objective. There should be some test step, written test cases, and we should automate whatever is already written and well tested manually. Those part we should automate. Okay. So let's take a case, and that will be our live project also. That will be our live project, and the website name is test.techlift.in. This is a kind of ERP system. This is particularly an ERP system. So when we say ERP system, it has different modules like sailors, accountancy, HR management. So we'll talk about ERP system tomorrow because this we are using as a live project. So this is a test environment of that live project. So let's assume that this is the page, and the test case is that you have to open this website. So let's note down the steps. Let's note down somewhere the step. So our step is open browser. Okay, and URL is this. Fine. So this is our first step. Second step is, let's say, click on login. Okay, so click on login to go to login page. Then third step is provide email address. So specify email. Fourth step is specify password. Fifth step is, let's say, click on login. Click on login button. So here, let's take the example like this is the valid email. We have to provide, let's say, this is a positive flow. Valid email, valid password, click on login button. And sixth step is verify the page. So there is a particular verification, and that should be a particular page title. Okay, that we will check. So these are our steps. Manually also, like you will be doing it like this. Okay. So let's first understand that what you have to do, how you can write. You can start writing code, how you create the project. So I have opened my Eclipse IDE, and here you can click on new Java project, and once you will do that, it will ask you the project name. So you provide some project name and click on the next, and it's done, right? Don't touch anything like default settings, whatever you have. Don't change on anything on that. So let's say my project name is August 20, whatever, you can give any name, whatever you feel. I have given August 2020 Selenium batch. Here you will be having a source as a default source code folder. There you can create packages, and inside that you can create classes. Okay. So today we are doing in a simple Java application way, right? It is not a framework on the very first day. So first 10 days, uh, for example, let's say next 2 weeks, we will be doing everything as a Java application, normal Java class, to understand the basic things about Selenium and how to handle the browser components and all. After that, after 2 weeks, we will shift to understand about the framework part. But as of now, we'll create a simple Java programs. Okay. So this is my project. Let's create a new package here. So I'm creating a new package, and I'm giving, let's say, the package name is Selenium practice. Selenium practice. You can give any name. So this Selenium practice is done. Now inside that I can create a class. So I'm creating a class called login. Just login. I want to check login related functionalities. That's why I have given the name as login, and there will be a main function. Okay, normal class we have created. Now I am going to the selenium.dev official website. Here you have, if you see here, Java row is here in the download part, and here you have download. So there are a lot of things: download, alpha, download, changelog, API, docs, and all. We have to click on this download. Okay, so that will give you the stable version of Selenium. Okay. So the alpha version is 4.00. Alpha means it's in the alpha testing, right? That thing. And if you click on the download, it will start downloading the stable version 3.141.59. So this will give you some jars. This will give you some jars. So I'm going to my system. Let's see if I have stored somewhere Selenium jars. So this is my Selenium jars 3.141.59. You will also get it once you will download it. I'm repeating. I am on this page, selenium.dev/downloads. Here we have Java row, and here is the download option. Once you will click on the download, it will give you one zip file. You have to unzip it, and I suggest that put it somewhere in your C drive. Right? So I have put it in my C drive, Selenium jar 3.141.59, and inside that, if you see, there are jars. These two jar, client combined, source, and there is a libs folder. In the folder also there are 5 jars. Now these jars are here. How to connect these jars to my project? So if you remember, we used to do in C++ programming also hash include iostream.h or stdio.h, right? What was that? It was all supporting libraries, correct? In the same way, if you want to write Selenium codes in your Eclipse IDE, you have to attach, link the Selenium jars to your project. How to do that? Right click on your project name, right click on your project name and properties. In the properties, you have Java build path. Here, there is a libraries section. Okay, there is a libraries section, and here you can say add external jar. So when I say add external jar, I can browse where the jars are present. So I am adding this to jar, clicking on open, then clicking again on add external jar, going to the libs folder and selecting all by Control A and clicking on open and doing apply and close. Okay. So what we did, repeating it, right click on the project, go to properties. In the properties left side, you will see a lot of things are present. In that, choose Java build path, and here go to the libraries tab. In the libraries tab, once you will be there, it will show you JRE system library, whatever standard Java SE library you are using, that is visible. Don't do anything like deleting or removing anything. Just click on add external jar and add the jars which you have downloaded from the Selenium website. Okay, so there are two parts. One is which is outside uh, here, this client jars, and there is a libs folder. There also we have 5 jars. All those jars you have to add and click on apply and close. Click on apply and close. Okay, I'll take the questions at the end. Surely you must be having a lot of doubts. I'll take it. Now, once you will add the jars, now there is one more thing that you should have is Chrome driver or any browser's driver which you want to open. So our objective as of now is, let's say these are the steps: open browser. We are considering that we are automating on Chrome browser, right? So to open any browser, we need the drivers of that particular browser, so that we will tell to the code that open a particular kind of browser. Okay, so for that you have to again, let's say, search on Google. So I'm searching here Chrome driver. So if you see here, the official website is chromedriver.chromium.org. If I click here, there will be all version available, download, latest beta release, latest stable release. So better to click on stable release. That will open this that will redirect to this page. And here you have for Linux, you can click here. For Mac machine, you can click here. For Windows, you can click here. That will again give you one zip file that you have to unzip, and that will give you one Chrome driver.exe file. Chrome driver.exe file. That exe file, you can have it. So for example, I have in my downloads, if I see, this is my Chrome driver underscore win32. This exe file, just copy that exe file and paste it to your project here. Paste it to your project. Okay, so I'm copying. I have one Chrome driver.exe in my other project, so I'm copying it and right click on your project and paste it. So this Chrome driver.exe I have. So what are the things I have in my project now? So just concentrate on this August 2020 Selenium batch. Here I have GRE system library, which will come by default. This is all GRE libraries. Okay. Then in the source folder, that is your own coding folder where you can create packages and classes. Then there are reference libraries. So that is coming because we have added these libraries to our build path. That's it. So configuration part is done. Till this, like we have added libraries and we have added the Chrome driver.exe. Okay. Now let's go to the steps. So our steps are this. Let me copy this and we will put it here. Let me comment it. So there is a way to comment. Shortcut is Control Shift /. So when I do Control Shift /, my code will get commented. Particular line which you have selected will get commented. Okay. So these are our steps to perform. Okay, third step was this. Fifth step was just these are our steps. Okay, fine. So step by step we have to do, and corresponding code will be there. Right? So first step is open browser, open Chrome browser, and this particular URL we have to open. So to open a particular kind of browser, actually we have to set the system property. So there is a standard line to set the system property and to say to our Java function or Java program that we want to set a particular browser as a system property. Okay, so that is this line, system.setProperty webdriver.chrome.driver and the path of it. So for example, let's understand what we have written here is we are saying setting a property webdriver.chrome.driver, and this is the path where my exe is present. So as of now, my exe is present at the project level itself, so I don't have to give the full path. So if you see here, our Chrome driver.exe is present at the project level itself. So we don't have to give the full path. If your this Chrome driver.exe is present at a particular location, then you can give the full path also, C:/\. So when you are writing backslash as a path, as a complete path, let's say in Java, you have to put 2 times backslash. Okay? So I'm not giving the full path because my Chrome driver.exe is present at the project level itself. So I don't have to give the full path. It will find out automatically. So this is the line to set system property, and this is like key value pair. This is the key, this is called a property, and this is called a value here. So this line is mandatory to set a browser driver which you want to use. Second line which you have to always use is opening a particular kind of browser. So web driver is equals to new Chrome driver. This name you can give anything. So I am giving, let's say, dr. So what this line does, so let's understand. Web driver is interface. Web driver is interface. It's not a class. We will learn about interface and abstract class also. Maybe our 11th or 12th session will be related to interface or abstract class. But as of now, let's understand that how it is working is, when we say new Chrome driver, it instantiate a new browser. It instantiate a new browser instance, and it gives the control to driver reference here. Okay. So what this line does is it opens a new browser instance, and it gives the control of that browser instance to this dr. Okay. We have given the name as dr. You can give any name. Why we need the control of a particular browser? Because you want to open a particular browser, a particular website, and then you need a control, complete control of your browser to do something. So for example, our test case is opening a browser, putting this URL. So once you open the browser, we need the control of this browser. We want to do something like putting the URL, clicking on the login button, and then doing something here. So we need a complete control of this particular browser. So this line gives you a control, and that control goes to this dr. So whatever you will write after this will start with dr dot something, some function. Okay. So when you write this, it will show you one error. So if I hover over this, you can import Chrome driver. So I'm clicking here. Then WebDriver part, we have to import org.openqa.selenium.webdriver. Done. So this is not showing me any error now. So let's execute this code as of now. So I do right click, run as Java application. So when I'm running it, observe that it has opened one Chrome browser, the instance of Chrome browser, and program is done because we are not doing anything, just we have opened the Chrome browser. Now what we want to do next is, so this first step is done. Second step is click on login button to go to the login page. So second step is clicking on login to go to the login page. So our next step, oh sorry, actually the next step is here, a particular URL we have to open. So that code is dr.get. So there is a function called get, and inside that, whatever URL you will put, that website will get open. So our URL is this one. So this will open this particular website. So what get function does whatever website address you will put, that particular website will get open. Okay. Our third step is clicking on login to go to the login page. Now, once we have the control of the driver, another thing we want is the control of the elements. So let's understand what is element. Whatever you see in a particular website is a web element. Technically, those are called web element. So here, if I talk, this explore button is a web element. This login link is web element. All these menu options are web element. Anything, whatever you are seeing here, one text box where it is asking for putting your email address, that is also web element. This particular text for the copyright, that is also web element. This powered by ERP next, something is written here, that is also web element. So in short, whatever you see in your website is called web element. Okay, so there are different kind of element, like this is a button, this is a text box, this may be a link, but ultimately all those are called web element. Okay, so to work on a particular web element, we need the control of that web element. So how to get the control of the web element? To identify it, you have to identify that element first. So how to identify the element? I have to identify this login button, let's say. So what I can do, login link, sorry. So right click here and inspect element. And what I did a right click here and I did inspect element, or in Chrome you will get inspector. Okay. That will open this kind of particular panel. This is called dev tool. This is called developer tool also. I'm going again, right click, inspect element. And once we will do inspect element, this will open something like this. Let me do control plus plus so that probably you will be able to see in a zoom in way. Okay. So if you see here, what it shows the code behind particular element. So see here, when I'm doing a hover over this, it is highlighting the login part. Okay, if I want to inspect this contact, if I want to inspect contact link, so what I can do, click here, there is an arrow icon and I'm going to a particular element. So here, when I click on the contact, it is showing me the code behind that contact option. So this is an anchor tag where class is this, href is this, and the text is contact. As of now, we want to click on the login. So I will inspect it. So here you can click on the arrow and go to login. So this is showing me the code behind this login button, login link, sorry. So let me copy this. You can copy outer HTML. I did a right click here, copy outer HTML, going here, and I will take it in the notepad. I'm using notepad++ language HTML. Okay. So this particular element is one anchor tag. It has this class, it has href/login, and the text is login itself. So we want the control of this login because we want to click on the login, correct? So the line for that is tr dot find element. So there are multiple functions. We are seeing one by one. What are the functions? Find element is a function where you have to say by dot link text. So there are different locator techniques. One of them is finding an element by linked text, and that text is this login. So I am putting it here. Now this will give me one element, so I can store it in one element. Let's say if I give the name as login link is equals to, so what we are doing here, is, and if error will be shown, you just import web element org open qa selenium. Done. So what we have done with this line is we are doing finding an element by the link text. And what is the text for that link is login. How I got to know that the text is login? Because here if you observe this element, this anchor tag is starting here, ending it here, and in between there is a text that is called link text. Okay, so I want to get the control of that element, and once I get the control of that element, what I will do, I will say login link dot click. So that will click on that particular login link. Let's run this and let's check whether this is working or not. So I'm doing run as Java application. So this is opening one Chrome. I'm not doing anything. Everything is happening automatically. Yes, it is clicking on the link. That means it's working fine. I'm closing it. Once that is getting open, what we want to do next is we want to provide some kind of user ID and password, and then clicking on the login. So every time we need a control of the element. This is the text box. This is also a text box. Then there is a login button. Correct. So let's inspect it. So every time you have to inspect that element. So I'm going inspecting this element, and we will get some detail about that element. So it's better to right click, copy outer HTML and put it somewhere in the notepad to understand that element first. To understand that element, this is the best thing, that you actually get it into the notepad. So this is saying that it is an input tag. It's a text box. That's why type is equals to text. Then there is a ID is equals to login email, some kind of class attribute, placeholder attribute, required is equals to blank, autofocus is equals to blank. So now we see every element you have to identify. So this element we can identify through ID. So if the ID is present and if it is unique, then better to use the ID attribute value. We'll talk about tomorrow that how to find whether a particular element is unique or not. As of now, let's assume that it is an unique ID. So what we will write here in the next line is again web element email text is equals to dr dot find element by dot id. Why we are using by dot id? Because we know the id of that particular element, and that email text which is there, email address text box, it has the id login underscore email. So we are using that particular identifier. And now what we want to do with the email text, we want to send keys. So send keys is a function which will send whatever you will put into the double quote. So if I put it here, a particular email ID, so I am putting it testology.qa.learning@gmail.com, and the same thing you have to do for the password field also. So I'm just copying pasting here, but you have to identify that particular element. So we want to identify the password field. The ID for password field is login underscore password, and we will use the ID login underscore password. Now it is password field, so I'm writing password dot txt, password txt, and here in the password field we want to pass some kind of password. So same, and password for this is histology @123. After that, we want to click on the login button. Okay, so let's inspect that login button, and this is saying me a particular thing that there is a button, and then let's copy this. I am copying the outer HTML, going here to understand the code behind this button. It's saying button class is equals to this, type is equals to submit, login. Now I don't have any ID to identify this uniquely. So in this kind of situation, you can create, so there are two ways. Either you will find out the X path, we'll talk about X path tomorrow. As of now, we will make a CSS selector out of this. We will have separate session to understand about CSS selector also. As of now, let's understand what I'm doing. So button where type is equals to submit. So this I'm creating a CSS selector. Type is equals to submit. That's it. So this is like a simple CSS selector for this particular element, where we are saying there is a button tag where type value is submit. Okay, so you can use this, copying this, putting it here, and I'm saying dr dot find element by dot CSS selector, and that CSS selector expression is this. And you can do two things. Either you again store it in a particular web element and then perform the action dot click, or you can do directly here also. So I'm writing dot click at the end, that will click on the submit button. So once we will click on the submit button, so let me put it, let's say uh, testology.qa.learning@gmail.com. Password is okay. Clicking on the login, and that is saying successful. It is opening another page. Okay, so this is our ERP system. We'll talk about it later on. As of now, our task is to get what is the title. So if you see here where my mouse is moving here, this is the title. How to get the title through the code is simple. You can write string title is equals to dr dot get title. So get title is a function which will give you the title of the page where your control is present as of now. So this is the thing which we have done one by one, finding the element, clicking on the, let's say, login button, and then putting email, then putting password, and then clicking on the submit button or the login button, and then finding the element and printing that title. So let's run this. I'm running this application. So I'm not touching anything. It is going to be done by the script. So it clicked here, it is clicked there on login, then put it. So everything is done. It's very fast and it's done. So at the end, we printed the title. So if you see here, it is not, it is printing login. So it happened very fast. What happened, if I go back or log out, let me log out. It was very fast that it captured the title of this page. Okay, so the title of this page is login. Actually, I wanted the title after once we click on the login, right? That is a different. Home should come. So we will learn about why it is showing login. It should show, actually, if you see here, it should show me home. We'll see it tomorrow because it was too fast. It didn't change the title, and we are looking for the title. It's like this. Once you click on the login button, we should wait for a page to be loaded properly. Okay guys, I am taking some of the questions. I know there are a lot of questions. I'll take it one by one. Let me complete those answers and then you can unmute and ask. But let me take some questions first from the chat window. Okay. So the first question is, for every new project in Eclipse, do we need to add the Selenium jar? Yes. So the thing is, if you are making a new project and if you want to work on a particular, let's say, package and classes you are making, you have to link the jar. It's not adding the jar, it's like linking the jar. Okay, so what we are doing here is linking the jar. So here you have to say, okay, your jars are present at a particular location. Another way is, you can say, if you want to get the reference from the another project. So let's say this is project 1, this is project 2. Here also, let's say I'm using Selenium jar, right? So you can give the reference of another project also to get the libraries, but that's not recommended. That's not a good way to do it, because if you delete this project, then the supporting jar wherever you have put that link will also break. So it's better that you will put the jars properly, like doing right click, properties, going to the Java build path. So this is Java application way. Maybe after 2 weeks we will understand about page object model way, right? Where we'll create Maven project. There actually you don't have to link the jar in this particular way. There is another way. There is a better and easier way. But as of now, let's understand, if you are making one standalone Java project, every time whenever you are creating a new project, you have to link it. As of now, it's just a one-time activity for your project. It's just one-time activity. It's not like that for every program you will make, you have to add the jar. It's not like that. So just one-time activity for a single project. Okay, I'm taking some more questions. WebDriver create an instance for new Chrome browser and give access to driver. No, it's not like that. The thing is, it is not giving access to driver. Driver is helping you to open. So it's same as, have you heard about mouse drivers? When you connect your pen drive, in background, one pen drive installer works, right? In the same way, or any, like in earlier days, actually in Windows, there are a lot of other drivers you have to add. Let's say if you add a new mouse, there is a mouse driver available. If you add a webcam driver, we have to install, correct? In the same way, if you want to open Chrome from the code, then you have to tell that I'm using Chrome driver and this is my Chrome driver which is present at a particular location. It's like this. And particularly if we talk about 19th line here, this means that new Chrome driver, what it will do, there is a Chrome driver class actually. It calls its constructor. In their constructor, it's written to open a Chrome instance. And once the Chrome instance is open, we are giving it the control to this reference. It's like this. Okay. We'll talk about this thing in detail. Don't worry about it. As of now, understand that this two line is important to open Chrome browser. Okay. In scrolling a web page also an element? Is scrolling a web page also an element? No, it all depends on what kind of a scroll it is. If you can identify this particular scroll, see here at the right hand side there is a scroll bar. If generally it is not the case, but if you can identify a scroll by right clicking and inspecting it, then we will say it is an element. Actually it is not. In this particular case I am not able to right click and find out, inspect this element. I'm able to right click anywhere in the page. Let's say this particular thing, I can inspect it and I can get the code behind this particular option, but a scroll we are not able to get. So in general, if somebody asks you whether a scroll is a web element, so actually it is not. Let me take other questions. How we can decide which locator we have to use? It will be based on the experience you will get to know. The basic logic is we have to find an element uniquely. We have to identify the element which is unique in the system, in your web page. You will get to know, you will slowly get to know when to use what. Okay. If we have two same buttons on web page, then link text function opens which one? It will open the first one. So a straightforward answer is if there is two button. So I'm going to log out from the system. Let's say where is log out gone? Just a minute. So let's say, let's talk about this. So let's say there are a lot of buttons here, right? And let's say to identify this element, the ID of or the text of these elements are same. This is also getting started, and some other way, some other places also another getting started link or button or whatever is present. So if we write driver dot find element by link text, it will find out the first one. It will work on it. Right? So it's a problem. We'll see how to resolve that issue. How to identify then second one. If you want to click on the second option, is Google Chrome and Chrome driver should be the same version. It's not like a standard that you that should, it should be compatible. It should not be the same, it should be compatible. So how to check the Chrome version? You can go right click, go to the help in about Google Chrome. If you see, it will be the version 85.0418.3.83, and my Chrome driver version is also same. But that's not a thumb rule that your Chrome version should exactly match with the Chrome driver. It's not the case. Okay. So it depends on the compatibility. Right? So it may be possible that the Chrome version 70 is working with the driver version of 72. That's that may be possible. Okay. The next question is how to be sure that the selected item is unique or not. We will see about it. How we will learn about how to check a particular element is unique or not. Exception in thread when, so you may be getting some kind of error, no such element exception. We'll see what you are saying, Shatrunjay. Maybe um, you are doing in some not a right way. Anyways, while inspecting email ID field, locator can be taken class name also instead of ID. So that we will see how to identify an element uniquely. When a class is unique, we will take the class name. When the ID is unique, we will take the ID. What is the difference between new project and project? No difference. So when you are in Eclipse, here file new Java project is same as project. So in when you do project, it will ask you what kind of project you want to create, whether it's a Java project, Gradle, Maven, or other kind of project. And you can directly do new Java project also if you are making the Java project. That's it, I think. So this is done for today's session about basic things.